In this video I want to talk about the transom of the North PAK Outdoors rigid inflatable, and it has a transom that zippers in as wood, but I'm gonna inflate the boat and I'll show you what I don't like about it and how I plan to fix it. So most rigid inflatables with the transom have like a wedge shaped or gusset of material to keep the transom from moving or wobbling. You obviously wouldn't want to even attempt to put a gasoline motor on here, but it is rated for, it says pontoon boat is designed to be used with electric mounted motor. In this part here used to say maximum foot-pounds 15. So the smallest trolling motor I've ever seen is one I owned. It was 17 foot-pounds. I don't even know if they make them smaller. Probably they do if you look hard enough, but the point of being that I have a 46-pound trolling motor I intend on putting on here, and with this moving as much as it does, it sure seems to me that it's going to be tilting at an angle I'm not going to want. So what I'm going to do is get a couple things. First thing is I'm going to stick some polyethylene pool noodles that kind of have closed cell to fill the gap in here, and also I'll probably have to put a brace from here to the handle across, sort of like when people add outboards to the inflatable Intex boats and different things that don't have a transom. They just, each end is like that, and then people support it with a bar going across. So right away, by pulling the board out, I see what I expected, a beveled edge here so that nothing's sharp and causing any sort of friction, but this board is absolutely straight. You'd think it would be curved out a little bit, maybe in the shape of that pontoon, but it's not. So I'm going to fill that gap with the pool noodle. Take this old sun-faded pool noodle and cut a piece that just does like the top half and slit it and put it in so it fills the gap in the upper part. Alright, the board is 11 inches from top to bottom, so I cut the pieces at 5.5 so that, and slit them so that I can stick them onto the board and slide them in. It should fill the gap up top. Alright, after fighting the zipper and making sure I didn't break it, that is in there a lot better just with the noodles filling up that gap. Now, I still don't think it's enough on its own. I think I'm going to need those cross supports, but that did make a world of difference. Filling in the gap over here. The other thing I'm going to have to address is if I'm going to be mounting a motor here, I don't want the clamps to be pushing on this material, so I'll probably get like a floor mat for a car and roll it over here. I don't know how I'm going to attach it yet. I may silicone it, or I'm kind of hesitant to permanently glue it because of the zipper access to this, though with a solid transom I don't foresee a need to really access this very often, so that's a possibility.
The next day.
A coastal advisory. Sure, the water's a little rougher. We're really some splash.
Okay, it's the next day, and as you can see, I'm filming this during Tropical Storm Henri, or it looks to me spelled Henry, but they keep calling it Henri. Whatever. Anyways, it was downgraded from a hurricane to a tropical storm. It's really not doing much here in the greater Boston area, thankfully. So on to more boat work. So I had added the padding in here with the noodles in it. It sure did stiffen this thing up a lot, but not enough for me to be comfortable. And I'm going to make some permanent modifications to this. So what happens is, in my opinion, this boat is not capable of putting the 46-pound thrust motor on it without it affecting the transom. I think it will twist and turn with the torque of the electric motor. So I'll make some permanent changes to it. That's fine, because I believe when I'm done it'll be capable, and that's what I'm looking for. And they aren't really major changes, because the boat can still be rolled up when I'm done and transported without issue. So went to Harbor Freight. I got these 24-inch woodworking clamps, and I'm going to clamp them on, one onto each end of the transom like that. And as you can see, the bar goes straight. I'm going to bend the bar so that at an angle, so that it will go, what would be that, about 90 degrees, 75 degrees, whatever, so I can attach the other end to the handle there. That should stop the transom from flexing very much, or so much that I can't put a motor on it. Also, I got these here outdoor grade, there's plastic on the back, these treads for stairs. So what I'm going to do is, originally I was going to put like a floor mat on here and roll it over, but this will allow me to attach it on the front and the back and still have access to the zipper, which is what I want. I don't want to make it so permanent that you can't get in there for any kind of maintenance if needed. So I think I'm going to start by adhering those to the transom, and then we'll clamp the bars and bend them. Obviously I won't be bending them on the boat, I'll have to bend them elsewhere to get the angle. Because I put the foam pads in here, the clamps aren't really going to go all the way to the edge, they're going to go kind of to here. So that means that I'm going to be trimming this pad so that it just goes to from here to here. So I'll get my measure, mark out the distance here on the pad, trim it up with some scissors, and then I'm going to adhere it to the back of the transom. Alright, so it's all glued up with pressure on just about everywhere. I'll tell you, if this isn't professional, I don't know what is. I just started grabbing everything that I could use. Trowels, cross braces, clamps, coffee cans full of bolts, cardboard packaging. Alright, it's been a little bit of time, and you can see the Gorilla Glue did what Gorilla Glue does. It expanded, and it feels pretty dry, so I'm going to remove all these clamps. Then I'm going to take the woodworking clamps I bought to bend, and I'm going to set them down and mark them for which side is going to bend which way. And then I'm going to have to find somewhere that I can put them in between something to bend them. I used to have a really good vise, like an industrial size vise, but I don't have that in my current situation, so I'll have to find some concrete or something to make my bends. So now that I have these bent, the bars on the bar clamps have a dimple in them to stop the ends from falling off, I guess, if you were to extend them all the way. So I'm just going ahead and drilling through the dimple to make it an actual hole. That'll help me secure to the handle a little bit better. So here are the brackets installed. I'm almost completed. I just have to put some vinyl tape on. These zip ties, but so I taped the end of the clamp rod with vinyl tape, and the thing is, you really got to clean it because it comes from the store greased up. If I didn't mention it, I bought these at Harbor Freight. They're 24-inch woodworking clamps. I think that at the time of this video they were $5.99 each, so not all that expensive. And I have 4 zip ties on each side holding it to the handle, and in fact I was able to get the handle to go below the corner there, so it's not really sharp, but again, inflatable boat, we don't want anything that could puncture anything, so I'm going to be taping up those with vinyl tape. And I don't know if there's any way for me to really explain to you what I'm feeling, but this used to flex. Now you can just pick up the whole boat. So when it's deflated, obviously this will be something different now, but in fact, if I just roll the boat up to here and then make my final fold on these brackets, everything should be just fine, and it won't be any more room consuming, as that's even a word. It won't be any more bulky than it was prior to this. So I'm really happy about this. I don't know. I mean, going into this, I thought there's no way to ever put a gasoline engine on this boat, and I personally still won't, because this project is just to go with a 46 pound thrust battery motor. But I mean, it's so tight and solid that maybe you could put like a little 2.5er on there and get away with it using this method.